Good afternoon, good evening, good evening, good evening. It's a great day for transformation. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. I have a special guest with me this evening, my wonderful wife, Shaman Tamikas. She's joining us in this conversation because we're going to have some real conversations about this. This is going to be an interesting topic. I can't wait to share it with you guys, but welcome to another episode of Transformative Conversations. My name is Minister Samuel L. Crumby Jr., aka Samion to some. And this is my beautiful wife, my spouse, Tamikas, Shaman Tamikas. How you doing this evening, Tamikas?
Oh, wonderful. How's everyone doing out there this evening?
Hope everyone is well. Fantastic. We got one in the chat so we are being heard. We are being heard. Let us know where you're tapping in from. Let us know where you are accessing this stream from, what part of the country you're coming from as well. We like to know, we like to communicate. This is a conversation. I don't just want to be the only voice in the room tonight. If you don't mind, there's no such thing as shy. Believe it or not, guess who else is shy? So you're not alone in this space tonight. So we're going to come in and we're going to have a great conversation. All right, we got Sigourney, my sissy, my baby sister Sigourney's in the room with us. And she's joining us and she's going to be one of the guests. I sent you the link, Sigourney. I hope that you have. I'm going to put it back in the chat again. Let's see here. Put it in the chat too. And I'm putting the link in the chat for anyone who wants to contribute to the conversation. Anyone who you don't have to show your face, you don't have to come on the camera, but we would love to hear your voice as you contribute to the conversation tonight. Tonight's conversation is a simple question. Very simple question. Is potential enough? Is potential enough? And I want you to think about that question because it can go in many different ways and it can cover several different areas in our lives. But the question is potential enough? And we're going to touch it. We're going to touch it in several different categories. And we're also just going to let this conversation roam freely. There doesn't necessarily have to be a structure to it, if you don't mind. There doesn't have to be a structure to it. But the chat is available for all mediums. If you're tapping in from YouTube or Facebook, let's utilize the chat. My lips were chapped before I came on, but we're going to utilize the chat in this. Okay, I see you backstage, sis. See you backstage. All right. And if you want to join this conversation, we want to have as many people into this conversation as possible. I'm going to go ahead and bring Sigourney up and let her get involved in this conversation as well. But just preface it. The question tonight is potential enough? Hey, Sigourney.
Hey, guys. Sorry, I look a little tired. It's been a good day, actually. But
hey, it's been a day for everybody. I'm glad to have you with us. It's a great day for transformation.
Yes, I'm all about that.
Fantastic. We're going to, so the question, before we even define it, or should we define what potential is first?
You can define it, yeah.
Define it first? Okay, let's define it. This is the definition of potential. Having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. A two-pronged campaign to woo potential customers. It has potential. All right. So the question we have to ask ourselves, is potential by itself enough? What say you?
So when you're asking about potential, is there a specific topic that you wanted to discuss about it?
We can open it up. It can be career. It could be relationships, dating possibilities. It could be just your potential, because we're going to talk about that too. We're going to get into the space of saying, and I have a story to share, and I actually can preface the story right after you answer the question as well, as more people begin to tap in and like the stream people. Please.
Yeah. So I can start with dating. Um, if I see potential in somebody, I have learned that that's not enough. It's absolutely not enough. From my personal experiences, my personal experience, I dated a guy or a couple, honestly, and I saw potential in them, and I, it
Hold up, pause.
made
You
me.
dated a couple
Yeah, I've dated guys in the past. So,
who were couples?
hmm?
Who
No, a
were
couple of men, like
oh,
different
okay.
dates,
Okay. I
different
just I had to clarify
experiences.
for some people out there.
So, I saw the potential, but with that, it makes you like eliminate the red flags. It makes you blind to the red flags. It's like you have the rose colored glasses on, and you're just like, well, he has so much potential to be this, that, and whatever. And it's like, but they don't even see their own potential. So if somebody doesn't even recognize their own potential, then you can't force them or try to control the narrative by forcing your narrative on them and hoping that it will work. It wouldn't work that way. Like people have to. I feel like in my space I am now, I'm allowing people to show up how they are and show up in the energy that they are, and I have the control in allowing myself to entertain it or not. So that's how I'm approaching it. Potential is not enough. With a job, not really. I mean, I feel like it's just not enough to make a decision over. Like you have to go with the facts. You have to go with showing up right now in the present, how it's presenting itself, and if it's just horrible, you don't feel like you have any support or nothing, then no, it's not enough. Like, yeah, I could go here and do that. Yeah, you can go that and do there and be there anywhere. So it's just like having that potential is kind of like narrowing your mindset, and it's kind of like you're focusing on that one thing versus there's a abundance of opportunities that are out there that are already shown up, like they already are what you're looking for. So being patient and realizing your worth and having those clear expectations or clear goals, not even expectations, having your clear goals that you're looking for and working towards it, you're eventually going to align yourself with those opportunities versus they have potential, that's that you're settling. You're settling, you're not getting where what you want. So no,
Now I want
potential
you to
is not
qualify
enough.
yourself too. I meant to do this before you actually started speaking. Tell people who you are. Let people know more about your
I'm an
background
amazing person, okay?
so they can understand why you are an amazing
Well,
person.
yeah, well, I'm be honest, I have done a lot of work. I'm a spiritualist. I am knee deep into studying psychology, philosophy, anything about self development. I have changed my behaviors, I have changed my habits in order to manipulate things to work for me and opportunities to come to me. So I'm currently a property manager. I have succeeded at this job. I was at a point where I was ready to quit, and I just at that point I stopped. I meditated and thought, like, you know what? Before I make any moves or anything, I need to get myself aligned and make sure I'm creating good habits for myself so I can allow those opportunities to come to me. When I got to that space and I was consistent at it, opportunities started coming to me, and I was about to quit, but then my client came in town and she offered me a 20K raise. And I was like, I will stay. It ain't that bad. I will make it work. Okay. So I am very ambitious. I am goal oriented. I know where I'm going. I've been through a lot of trials and tribulations. I have learned a lot. I have experienced a lot and have a lot of knowledge and wisdom. And I'm ready to share it with the world. But yes, I have a very, 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 very extensive background of like experiences and lessons and how to overcome them and achieve them. So
And
also a college graduate, but yeah,
there you go.
and a
See,
mom.
college graduate. All right.
I'm a mom. I'm a single mom of three. I
There
was
we go.
engaged for 6 years, broke it off because it was toxic, and I decided to thrive and invest in myself and pour self love into myself.
In your previous relationship, as
Hmm.
you're a single mom
Hmm.
of three children, in those relationships, would you say that you invested in potential, or you were uh, you you knew what you were getting yourself in, and that you were good with what was there?
Nope. And that's another thing. I was invested in potential. When you invest in potential, you're not aware, you're not present. So you're not paying attention. You're not really even being in the relationship, and it's just setting it up for failure from day one. So
And now, in addition to that, you said you just were blessed with a significant raise, and you were thinking about finding something else to do, transitioning into something else. the investment they made in you, was it based upon your potential?
Oh no, it wasn't. I proved myself. To be honest, I showed up and showed out, and I let them know like this is what I'm about. And I came to the realization that my confidence level wasn't there. So when I got my confidence level up, and they saw that, and they saw how valuable I was, they weren't gonna let me go. It
Period.
wasn't all about my potential at all.
Fantastic. Stand by. Let's get Tamika's opinion, her impression.
Yeah.
Tamika's, what do you think? Is potential enough? And qualify yourself before you actually speak to the people so they know who you are, young lady.
All right. Well, hello everyone. How you doing, Sigourney? Thanks for joining us. Yeah. I'm Shaman Tamikis. My background is, well, first of all, I'm a mother. I'm a wife, children, all that good, wonderful things. Um, but I have a college degree in healthcare development, as well as accounting, bachelor's in nursing. But my profession is midwifery. So I'm all about midwifery, not just birth, but people. I help people with transitions from their old self and evolving into their new selves. When I think about potential, I think about a person that's like a diamond in the rough. Sometimes we look at the the outer layers of something, but there's something in them that says, you know what? They do have the potential to do that. However, they were not in spaces to be supported with that potential. And I've been in those spaces where I've seen the potential in a person, and it's kind of like I struck a match and set it ablaze. And that potential became more than just a possibility, but realigning themselves back with their purpose. So it depends on how you look at that kind of potential. When I think of potential, I think of possibility. Someone, okay, you know what? I'm going to give you a chance to see what I see in you, to see it in yourself. And then you have a choice to ignite that, you know?
How'd that work out for you?
Oh, it worked out great. I've helped a lot of people to enhance their potentials and made their goals real.
I like that a lot. I feel like with that, the common thing is that they have to be open to receive and open to change and open to that. Like if they're not
Correct.
open to it and if they're stuck in their ways, it's not going to work. But if they are
Correct.
open to it, yeah, they will go and grow. Because we all have potential. We all at one point somebody has always seen some kind of potential in us and invested in us and invested a little seed, and we took it somehow, some way, somewhere. We took it and grew, and we went with it. So, from a personal example, like last year, I quit my job and because it was too toxic, and my brother took me in and poured love into me, and it was just like a phenomenal experience that I haven't really had because I felt like, I had to do this on my own, fight or flight mode. And he took me out of that energy of fight or flight mode and just helped me see like the love, just like love and support. That one little seed that he planted changed my whole like perception and allowed me to grow and go just from him seeing the potential in me. So at that point, I was open to receiving that. So I totally agree with that.
Now, was that just now was that based solely on your potential, or was it based upon he saw you from, and we're talking about my younger brother who's older to her as well. He saw you for who you were and said, hey, if I just plant a little seed because of who she is, she will make that thing grow.
Yeah.
Now based upon the definition, let's go back to the definition of potential. Based upon the definition, that is not in alignment because the
Yeah.
definition is having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future, which it can be a two-pronged campaign to woo potential customers, right? So yeah, the potential is there, but here I think something we forget frequently is do we something we forget frequently is, are we selling our potential or are we showing up in our authentic space? Because what I'm hearing from you is that you showed up in your authentic space and somebody said, you know what, if she just had a little more, she would fly. if she was able to have a little water, she would grow. And I think that's what you were talking about too, is that it really wasn't based upon potential. It's like, you know what, this person got it. They're a star. And if they're in the right room at the right time, man, they can show off that they can showcase their stardom and then and be able to take themselves to the next level. Right. So I think that's different from just having potential. And I go back to my story. Go back to my story. A couple of years back, maybe a decade ago, uh, I was just in the space of dating and also employment. You can carry it over into whatever frame you want to use this reference. I found myself entering into experiences that were not fulfilling for me and trying to live up to somebody else's expectation of me. And someone with some great wisdom pulled me to the side and said, perhaps you need to stop selling your potential. Many of us unconsciously sell our potential instead of selling, knowing that we are enough. Who we are in our right, perfect place right now is enough. Now, sometimes our potential is far greater than who we are, and we want to cover up and we want to shine a brighter light on us, which means there's some work that we need to do, which I'm so glad that you said, Sigourney, that you did your work and you constantly are doing your work and you're very insistent on being accountable for your work. And it takes a lot of personal accountability to be able to say, you know what? I'm selling my potential because I don't have what I need to stand up in the prop and feel that level of confidence. And so you're an employer, Sigourney, I'm an employer, because you are an employer. When you put a job description out there, and follow me on this, when you put a job description out there, do you find on the resumes that people are selling their potential or their attributes?
Ugh, I definitely feel like people are selling their potential more than their attributes.
Why do you feel that way?
Because I feel like they're just trying to line up exactly what I say in the details of like the description of what I'm needing. Instead of like, you know, like when I put on my resume, I put on my accomplishments and things that I've already done. Like these are my success stories,
Mhm.
and I sell less of things that they're looking for because it's just like at this point you're really looking for me. I'm just helping you by submitting my resume. So a lot of people just put their stuff that they try to get the job. That makes sense.
Mhm.
So yeah, I definitely feel like they try to sell their potential. And that's a big thing because I'm actually about to start hiring soon. So I'm definitely going to be looking like, yeah.
How about you, Mikas? You find that people are selling their potential or displaying their attributes?
Well, it can work both ways sometimes. I've seen people do more attributes than potential, um, meaning they want to emphasize more on their assets and not their liabilities. When I think of potential, it's just enough to get you in the door. Like you said, everything that's on the description, right? They will look at all the things on their description and say, okay, I can do that, I can do that, do that. But then I can make myself room to learn that. Then you have to ask yourself as an employer, do you have time to, as the definition say, develop that person to be what you're asking for in right in the description? So I look more for attributes. However, I will make room for potential if they also have room to balance out those attributes and willing to develop into that. But it once again, it depends on what I need right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if I need what I need right now, I'm looking more for attributes than potential. The potential can come later if you make room to develop more into the role.
I agree.
Hmm. 1 second. If you're listening, press one if you can hear. Someone says, Kelly says, I can't hear you. That's interesting. Let's see here. That's interesting. Oh, I hear me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. It's interesting. Oh, I hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, turn up your volume, Kelly. Take your phone off of silent, perhaps, or also see if you have.
A
Are you
Bluetooth
checking it
connector.
from YouTube? Yeah, you're checking it from YouTube.
Okay.
That does it to me every time, Kelly.
And it happens to me too. It happens to me as well.
I
So,
was like, there it is. I've been looking for this all day.
all right. So, hey Cheryl, good evening to you. Thanks for checking in. Now, as I was saying, so you were saying that, and I love the fact that you like to get people attention. That's a beautiful thing. However, my question is this: your first, how has it worked for you, Tamika's, because you've had to hire a number of doulas or birth workers to work with you in certain situations. How has it worked with you when someone comes to you and says, "Hey, I have this desire to do this. It seems like it's cool, it's fun. I feel like it's part of who I am." Uh, are you basing it on potential then, or are you basing it upon their attributes?
Based upon their attributes, because I'm basing it on their attributes.
How so?
Because in this work, there's no room for potential. A lot of times people want to come into this work because it's something that they glorify and they just want to do it. But I would like to know more than just that. Is it your attribute? Don't give me the potential in this, because we have lives that weighs into balance. So you might have the potential, might want to do this work, and we can work out what that is. But I want to see where you are already. I need you to be already there already.
So it sounds like to me that passion
Thank you. I was going to say that. Yep.
Passion.
It's the passion for me.
passion is more important to you than potential.
Yes.
Got it. And for me too, I'm the same way. I want to find someone when I align with people, even if I'm helping someone through life and coaching them or whatever the case may be, mentoring. I want to make sure that you're willing to invest in yourself more or just as much as me. If not, I'm not wasting my time nor my energy, because now you have what I call vampire syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
You have people who were there just to leech off of you and to say, "I'm here, I'm present, but I have nothing to offer." But they're takers. Takers. Now, put one in the chat if you know some takers. I know some takers.
And that's when you learn them firm boundaries, okay?
And boundaries are significantly important. Now, before we go to the boundaries part, I want to come back, because many times, and let's really have a conversation about relationships, because we're not just talking about intimate relationships. We're really talking about relationships across the board. Talking about relationships at your job, your friendships, family relationships, your familiar relationships. We're talking about your associations, whether your organizations, whatever the case may be, even your churches, or even your social clubs, social organizations, civic clubs, civic organizations. They have the potential. Many times what I find out is that we will find someone who makes us feel good. And in that space of feeling good, we ignore if we're making a conscious and logical decision, if it's a potential experience or if it is a firm experience with foundation and has passion attached to it. And I'm not talking about passion when it's going to bring some sweat behind it. I'm talking about some passion where they're invested. They know what they want out of life. They're willing to put whatever they need to put into it in order to get it out of it. And because here's the thing, and I'm going to ask this question before give information. When you want to relate, what type of relationship is best for you? You know, we hear about all different types of relationships, the categories of relationships, right? Is anybody interested in an 80-20 relationship?
No.
Now, for those in the chat who are listening, what's an 80-20 relationship? Meaning, as long as they have 80% of what you're looking for, you're willing to put aside the 20%. You're willing to set aside the 20%. You know, 80% is better than nothing, right? So anybody agree that you desire relationships in any capacity that are based upon the 80-20 rule? Put a Y in the chat if you're open to that. Anyone?
Depends on what that 20% is, but go ahead.
Okay. We'll see if you keep that same energy. All right. What about somebody who's interested in a 50-50 relationship? Like you bring your 50, I bring my 50, and we got 100.
I'm interested in 100. We both show up whole.
Exactly. And I was going to get there because what we could have is in that whole 50-50 or the 80-20, we can have instead of having a soulmate experience, we can have a cellmate experience. Now you ask yourself, do you want somebody that you want to sell with? Toxic.
It's a no for me.
You just having to deal with whatever there. Think about it. Oh, that's just an awful thought, but I'm gonna create the illusion. You were in that singular space, 6x9, whatever the case may be, using the same commode, sleeping on top of one another, hearing all the habits, and you don't even like them. You didn't even choose them. Or if you chose them, you settled for them. Is that what you desire? Now we have the 100%. You bring your 100, I bring my 100. That's called an enhanced relationship. Meaning, at any time we part ways, I don't lose anything, you don't lose anything. Because we're already full. We're already good. So now that's just an expression. I'm not looking for anything from you. You don't have to bring anything to me, but whatever you bring is extra. I'm good. And I'm not saying that we don't really make ourselves available to have to fulfill certain roles, right? It's like, you know what, I'm a man. Just for those who didn't know out there, I am a man. I know my hair is growing, but I'm still a man. And so I like to show up in a man's role. I like to be the protector. I like to be the provider. I like to be these things, right? But yet, and I like my wife or my woman who is submissive, who is soft, who is gentle, who operates in her divine feminine space. That's perfect for me. Perfect. But that doesn't mean that she don't have to come to the table 100%. Why do I say that? How many of you listening, Tamika's, Sigourney, want to be needed in a relationship? Is it important for you to feel needed?
No.
No.
Why not?
Valued and respected, yes, but not needed. Like I don't want to. No, I feel like it's a form of codependency. Like I don't want you to need me because that means there's something lacking from you to need me. I want you to feel like I'm showing up. Like we're here to support each other and love each other. Like you said earlier, like we're here to. Ooh, I'm sleepy, but like earlier, like you just want to show up together as a whole. So when you part, you don't have to worry about, that something's missing, like somebody just took a part of you. Like I feel like when you need somebody or that need is a lack mentality. So, I'd rather have somebody that's respected and loves and supports me than needs me.
I I totally agree. Um, yes, I don't I desire I pretty much I just desire you and everything that comes with it. Need is just a temporary thing because you could just need me for one thing for that moment and that quickly goes away. But I don't want you to need me.
Chat. Do you desire to be needed? Is being needed important to you? I want to get your insight before I give my impression. And while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and tell you why I asked that question. Tamika's almost stole my thunder, but I'll say it. To be needed has an expiration date attached to it. To be needed has an expiration date. Hey, Ebony, attached to it. What do I mean by that? Because at any time, like Tamika said, that need is fulfilled, then there's no purpose left for you to be in that relationship or for you to have that experience. And desired is what you do, like Ebony said, and Mika's, you said the same thing. And Sigourney, you were talking about it, but you used two other words, valued and respected, which are very important. But to be needed, to be desired means I value you. I respect you. You are important to me. Because it derives from the root word of Latin, root word. It derives from, and it means of God. It's that eternal, it's that everlasting experience. Like that doesn't fade, that doesn't go away. You know, unlike the emotion of love, like I'm so in love with you. That can change, trust me. I've talked to many people who've been in relationships for a long time, and they told me flat out, do not marry someone simply because you're in love with them. Because those emotions change, those feelings change. Find you a partner that you want to wake up to every morning, and y'all can have conversations that are everlasting. That is your friend. That is your friend. I see Tony Hightower's name in the chat. Tony Hightower. I know that guy. If anybody have anything to offer, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. So if you have anything you want to contribute to this conversation, you can feel free to do so. You don't have to show your face. There's a link in the chat.
I've definitely loved and lost. Okay, I'm like, oh, I love you, but I really don't the next day. So it definitely goes away. So
Love Survive said, I love to give, and it's beautiful to be needed. I'm not in the space of lack. I don't know how to explain how I can explain my love for marriage. I value what God had for me. Love is the conversation. I agree with you. I agree with you. Love is the conversation. And love is continuous. Love is everlasting. Love is finite. Love doesn't have to be attached to an experience. And love definitely doesn't need to be attached to a person. That can change in any given time. Because how you love may be very different than how someone else shows up in that expression. So you have to be willing to allow yourself just to be love instead of being in love.
Yeah.
There's a difference. You don't want to be in it. You want love to be in you. And you can only love someone as much as you love yourself. And then in addition to that, you can only receive as much love from another as much love as you give to yourself. So if you're very conditional with your love, you're going to be loved conditionally. Maybe not because that's what they're offering, but that's all you're able to receive because you have placed limitations on your love. All right? So I honor that. Great comment. I appreciate those. Keep those comments coming in. Keep those comments coming in. They help us keep the conversation going. Oh yeah, bring Tony on in the room, man. That's my homeboy. So back to what we were saying, and we were talking about. There we go. Yes. I'm in the space of loving me. I am ready to receive. Oh, beautiful. I love it. Because that's when you are aligned with what you're desiring. That's when you align with it. When you want it, guess what? Let me tell y'all a secret that I learned a while ago. When you want something, that's the worst thing you can ever do.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because you're gonna get more. You're gonna get more of what you want. You know what that is? Wanting.
Yep.
You're gonna have more wanting. You're gonna have more longing for what it is that you ultimately desire. So you don't want to move into it. You don't. It is not. Remove the idea of wanting anything and allow yourself to receive the idea of you being desiring to align with certain experiences because they are an expression of you. They are an expression and extension of you, just like we are an expression and extension of the Creator. We get the opportunity to experience the goodness that comes with creation because we're operating in alignment with that thing now instead of just wanting it. I guarantee you, go back, just look over your life. When's the last time you said, I want something? Better yet, oh, it's nighttime. You're sitting in your bedroom and you say, oh my goodness, I want some ice cream. And many times you will sit there in that bed and think about what you want. It might be in the refrigerator. You'll say, I want some ice cream, but I don't feel like getting up and getting it. Or I want some ice cream, but it's not in that refrigerator. And so you leave you in a space of wanting it. However, if you have a deep longing for it, a deep desire for it, you're gonna make a way to get that ice cream because it's a part of who you are. It's that space. So let's migrate back to potential. So we moved and we said we gave the definition of potential. Then we also said how that in any relational status, even if it's a job, like, do you want a job that has the potential of providing a livelihood for you, that has the potential of being a great corporation? Or do you want a job that's already showing you that they're greatness and they're just buying their time and they're doing the work to achieve that level of greatness? Anybody want to answer that question? Or better yet, we don't want a job anyways, right? Because that's just so we're broke. So a career, an opportunity. Do you want to align your skills? And that's something you said earlier, Sigourney, and I love that. When we talked about resumes, right? And I'm sorry if we're all over the place right here, but it just came back to me. We're talking about resumes. The best resumes are those that have a story, that tell a story. Because I guarantee everybody on this chat who's listening to the sound of my voice has had this experience. When you go into an interview, the interviewer has your resume right there in front of you, but will ask you questions about what's on your resume. So, have you experienced that?
Yeah, but I always do it. Like I already know it because they're my accomplishments. So I can.
Right.
But yeah.
Do you do that when you interview people? Do you ask them questions about what's on their resume?
Yeah.
And usually, how do they respond?
They usually pause like that. What did I put on there? Like they don't remember. So I mean, to me, that's already a cue that you're not really taking this serious. Like you're not really thorough of what you're doing. You're not appreciating or investing in this opportunity or your resume. So, yeah.
And so that's the key word too. It's investing. And we said it several times. What are you investing? What is the person who's desiring to be a part of your life, whether it's platonic or intimate? Are they making an investment? And I'm not saying are they out there caking you? Are they out there being a sugar daddy? I'm not saying that. They're taking you to the nicest restaurants. Because the reality is we really don't want somebody's representative either. Because people will show you their representative all day long.
Right.
But then once they get you on the hook, they have the fish on the hook, then they'll change. Like, wait, well, this is who I really am.
It works for employers too. Employees, yeah, they're great. And then that 30 days happening, like, what the hell? Who the hell is this? And then you got to wait to get them fired. And
yeah, it's harder to get them out the door, and it costs more to get them out the door than it was to get them in.
Yeah, that got me. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it's important for us to really focus on, and that's why even with an employer, And we need to do this in our relationships too. We need to ask the right questions. Like, you know what your motivations are. You know what it is that you desire. You need to do your research and ask the right questions. And especially from a space of relationships, even from employment, you know who you are and you know exactly what it is that you desire to experience in your life at that moment. So now we're looking to see, is this a valuable relationship? Are you a valuable partner with me, Mr. Employer, Mr. or Mrs. Friendship? Are you a valuable partner with me? Like, are you in a space that you can partner and I can achieve what it is that I'm here to achieve, and you're able to achieve what you can achieve, what you desire to achieve with me? Ladies, what do y'all think about that?
I
Tamika, you can go first.
on that. I feel like to know the difference of potential and to know like how to apply that and the red flags and pay attention to all of that, you have to really know yourself. So if you don't really know yourself, if you're not investing in yourself, if you're not showing yourself love, having experiences, seeing what you like, seeing what you don't like doing your work, it's going to be extremely hard for you to see people's potential. Not see potential, but like pay attention to the red flags, know what you want, have that confidence level to get what you want. Like it's imperative that you really do that self work and break bad habits and increase your willpower just so you can get where you need to be. And I feel like right now I have more control over what I want, what I don't want, and I can implement that, and I can show up in a space and go on a date or meet with somebody and know from that conversation that okay, we're not aligned, you're cool, we're cool, that's okay. But showing up for yourself and really investing in yourself and showing yourself as much self-love as you can, it's gonna your frequency, you're gonna get higher. You're gonna get higher frequency and higher frequency of love. You're gonna attract everything that you desire and you love towards you, and you're gonna meet people that are on that frequency there with you. So the most important thing is really making sure you invest in yourself to even get to that opportunity or and realize the red flags even more and have more clarity and more confidence in where you're trying to show up at.
Absolutely, absolutely. For those who haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel Samuel Crumby Jr. or One Transformation Center, please take the moment to go out the chat and subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's a lot of wonderful information that's coming down the pipeline, and I want you to hit the bell as well so that you can be alerted as soon as it comes in. Don't want you to miss out on anything. But absolutely, Sigourney, I totally agree with you. I remember when before I go, Tamika, do you have anything to add to that?
I do not. She said pretty much everything because when you think about the word potential, once again, it's about showing in development. So if you are seeking a certain career and you know what all the attributes that require for that career, then you want to work on your self-study, your self-skill, to show more than just the potential, but go in there, walk and say, the job is mine, or this is my career.
I I agree with you 100%. I let's do this. Let's take the word relationship and career out of it, and let's replace it with experience. When you are in pursuit of an experience, or you're desiring to align with a certain experience, you have to make sure that you show up authentically. Why? Because the energy that you give is what you want to receive. Now, I'll tell you how I date. I dated. Before I get into that, let me see what this comment is. I have another comment by Love Survive. We are learning. Let me put my glasses on so I can see this. We are learning. We are learning. It is the willingness to learn. Yes, we ask questions and listen to the answers. I would love someone who is with me. The process is self love. The process is self love really is learned through life. I agree because experience is the greatest teacher. It absolutely is. Thank you for that comment. I'll survive. So as I said, let me tell you how I date or dated. Once I was approached with the question if I was pitching or if I was leading with my potential, if I was selling my potential, I had to do some serious evaluation about that. And I had to look at yourself and I said, you know what? Yeah, you get out there, you tell people what you're doing and the moves you're making. And yeah, you're vested and you think like that's who you are. And it is who I am. But I'm really having them to buy into what I'm working towards instead of who I truly am. So I didn't give people the opportunity to really accept me and embrace me for who I am. So now, word go. I put it all on the table. I say the stuff that'll make you run away. If you stay, let's continue. I don't I don't I don't create a facade for you. I don't give you an illusion. I don't operate from a space of false evidence appearing real. I don't have any fear. I'm not worried about fear of loss. None of that. But you need to know. Oh, I over say I'm not sell. I don't sell anything, but I over provide information. And so with that being the case, it's like now he's like, you know what, this person is real. Like, oh my gosh, I never had somebody that was so honest with me. Because honesty, what I'm really showing you is I'm a very honest and trustworthy person. And I desire honesty and trustworthiness. It's important to me, you know. And guess what? I love myself enough to be vulnerable and to give you the opportunity to be vulnerable with me. So, because there's a quote that says, it's a poem that says, when you show up, you unconsciously give people permission to do the same. So instead of us playing games and we say, oh, people out there playing games, this, that, and the other, so on and so forth. No, I'm keeping 100 with you. This is who I am. Who are you? Let's be honest with one another. Let's get it out the way. Because sometimes, you know, I remember one time, I was in my 20s. And I met this young lady for the first time. I'm not sure if I met her that day. And it was like Valentine's Day. It's like, you know what? I didn't have a date. It's like, we're going to go out. And I went out and picked up some, I went out and picked up some flowers and a teddy bear and some candy and all that good stuff. And I said, we met and we got into the car. I already knew the energy. I felt the energy. It was going down that night. It was on and popping. I already knew it. So I wanted to make sure that well, we had conversations about that thing. I didn't want to move into a space of unexpectedness. I want to have conversations. So I asked the hard questions. 1, have you ever had an STD? 2, when's the last time you had an HIV test? When I asked those questions, the date was over. And I was elated because I felt like I had escaped something. Because 1, you can see from the response if they're hesitant, or you can see if they're trying to blow you off, or they're trying to finesse you, or if they look at you and say, you know what, I'm so glad you asked that question because those things are important to me too. Bam! Now you got somebody who's willing to be open with you, who's willing to be honest with you, and you can make a decision to move forward from that point forward. But I was so grateful simply because out of wisdom, I made the decision to ask the hard questions up front. I possibly avoided a significant injury to myself and to my life path. And maybe there was no issue with her health, but simply because she may not have been someone of substance and integrity. And I would have been involving myself with that situation, which would have been distracting me from being the best version of myself. So you owe it to yourself. Go ahead, Scorny.
No, I said energy vampire. When they just try to distract you and they just want to feed off your energy. And yeah, you gotta be real careful to who you invest in, because some people will distract you from being your best potential, your potential. People will distract you from you getting where you need to be.
Or better yet, people will keep you in your potential.
There you go. Yep.
because we want to move beyond our potential. We don't
Right.
want to be our potential. We want to move beyond our potential. So anybody have anything else to add? Any questions? I want to throw a question out there for the chat. Questions for yourself or for the panelists.
I have a question. How does one move into the space to get out of being a potential candidate?
Repeat that question, please.
What are the first steps of a person to get out of the potential being a potential candidate?
And I would say, well, if you're talking about dating, I definitely would say investing in yourself. Like if you want to show up, and if you have to show up for yourself, you have to make the self-development like it's a two-way lane. Like if I'm going to be growing and doing my investment in myself, and I know where I'm going in my life, I need you to also be doing it. But don't do it for me, do it for yourself. And that, then eventually you'll align. If it's meant to be, we'll align. If it's meant to be, we'll align. But it's definitely self-investment. You got to put yourself first. Like, I'm glad that I was able to show you that that is your potential, or that's where you can get to, but I'm not going to date you based off of that. I want you to go ahead and just do your work. And then
And
we
I
can be
think
cool.
that's something that has to be said for that too. Like if I see your potential and you don't, what is that really saying about you?
You're just not there yet.
Yeah, and I think that's something we really have to just be honest with is because sometimes we get lonely and we do desire a partner so much that we make exceptions. Sometimes even when we move into other experiences of our life, we want something so bad that we make exceptions for it and we take it anyways at our own behest, at our own demise. And so it's like, are we confident, I cannot say the word, confident enough to stand our ground and be our authentic selves and say, you know what, that looks good, it's almost there, but I see what you are. I see what you are.
Yeah.
You're temporarily holding the space for what I really desire.
And I love myself more
So
to,
I,
yeah,
Placeholders.
yeah,
oh yeah, placeholders.
yeah.
I want to say this real quickly. For those that do not know, when she says put in the work, let's emphasize what work is.
Whew.
Go
Yes, I
for it.
would love to listen. Cause
Okay.
the work
Let's
has
get
been,
to the, as they say, let's get to the root of the word
well,
work.
Before
for me, oh, you can,
before we go there, we have a couple of comments in there. Let's go and get through these comments. It says, Alyssa Vive says, you see, we are so different from our 20s, 30s, and in my case, 50s. You gain wisdom, your past relationships, and or knowledge guided you. We must be open to love. Absolutely. Love is all there is.
yeah.
Let's be 100. Love is all there is, and that's one of the first commandments that was given to us. Love is all there is. So with that being the case, you're absolutely right. Because in my 20s and 30s, I didn't have to wear these glasses either.
Right.
But
Ain't,
but
I was
but
going for everybody's potential. Okay.
right. And so at the same time, it is experience is our absolute greatest teacher. We have to be able to allow ourselves to make mistakes so that we can grow and become the fullness of who we are. We don't fall down and bump our heads. We don't know how to get back up.
And have compassion towards yourself as you're going through it. And don't be hard on
Exactly.
yourself because it's life.
Exactly. My guy, Tony Hightower. Oh man, I was long time, my brother. He says, "Yeah, the hard questions get them every time, and you have to get to the bottom line of it all. Have to protect that spirit and energy." Tony, I'm
Yeah.
dropping it. I'm dropping a link in the chat, man. If you want to come on, and contribute, you're welcome to do so, man.
I love that because me as a person, I'm a very deep person. I will go all the way inwards, outwards. I will go above, like those deep taboo subjects. I love those. I go deep dark. I will pull myself out of depression. I will go and do the work. So those kind of questions make me happy because it makes me feel like you truly care about yourself. So I love it.
Yes, indeed. Tony also adds that they haven't evolved yet, and it's true, and that's true. People tend to dumb themselves down to settle. Don't waste time. Man, that is a real one right there. That is a real one right there because we do that. We do that for so many different reasons. I'll be the first one to tell you. My first marriage, I dumbed myself down, and I knew it. I knew it. I cried at the altar. I cried. Not because I was elated that I was getting married, because I knew I was making a mistake and I didn't have the courage to back out.
Oh Lord.
But guess what? That was the lesson that I needed to learn. Courage. I thought I was a very courageous person, but not when it came down to myself. Not for really advocating for myself. And so being with that being the case, I needed to have that experience so that I could become who I am today. So let's survive. Dating is the hardest, but the best way to learn what you like. Now, if you
Yes.
stand by, guess what? Guess what? You stand by, I'm gonna give you some secrets on dating. I'm gonna give you some secrets on dating where it will never be hard for you again. I promise you. If you follow these secrets, they will never be hard for you again. All right, let me see. We got some more comments here. Let's see here. Appreciate your support, bro. I really appreciate your support. We got to connect. All right, so we were we were talking about dating. We're gonna come back to the date. I'm gonna keep this on the screen. Tamika's, go ahead and add what you wanted to say.
So as I was saying earlier about work, for those that don't know what work is, working is getting to the root and the source of you. Because a lot of times, me and Samuel talked about this a long time ago, is that sometimes we make decisions or actions based off the trauma that we experienced when we were younger. So a lot of times, even though we're in our 20s and 30s and 40s, we're still carrying that 10-year-old trauma response in our relationships, work, things of that nature. So when we say work, we're talking about let's get to the root of everything. Let's go back to where it all began with the relationships with our mothers, our fathers. Because that looking at that example, like when I look at my father, I say, okay, that's the kind of man I want, how my father is. Or a man might say, you know what, I might want how my mother is, or what you saw. And so as you're getting older and you looking at responses, different trauma responses, so it's about just getting back to who you are and working through those things, because you don't want to carry that trauma over to your relationships. You consistently be staying in that potential. So if you want to get on that front line of not being a potential, let's be 100% with ourselves and get deep down to the root of everything. So by the time we get that 100% woman or man or 100% career
You won't
or
scare
whatever
everybody.
relationship it is, we can bring it full 100.
Yeah.
100% experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gordon, you want to add to that?
Yeah, healing is a big part of it. That's definitely a big part of it. Getting to the root of it. If something triggers you, you need to ask yourself, why is this triggering me? Therapy is important. I am definitely an advocate for therapy. I went to school for therapy, so there's that. But and just really getting to know yourself, asking yourself those questions. And then a big thing for me was just like, okay, I feel like I finally overcame those mountains or those challenges from the past that was holding me back. But now what do I truly want? What do I desire? Like what do I desire to experience in this lifetime? So, you go out, you see experiences and you learn things. You're like, I like that. So I take that, I journal it, I write it down, I say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is my plan. And you make those goals, you set your intentions, and you increase your willpower and you go to it. You do it. Like, I desire to, like, and you, anything you're lacking, like, say you're lacking in finances, you take that and instead of having that lack mentality, you pour into it and you invest and you figure it and you empower yourself and you learn how you can overcome this challenge. It's like pushing yourself to be the best version of yourself. Like, I set a daily habits. Every morning I get up, take my kids to the bus, go work out. I come back, I meditate, I make a smoothie, set timer for 30 minutes to touch clean the house, and I get ready for work while I'm listening to a podcast about self-development. I challenge myself every day to learn something new and something to like enhance my knowledge that I can share with other people. And it's just like those little things, like those daily habits, yes, they can be challenging. No, you don't want to do them every day, but that's the difference from like your emotions and wanting to do something and having that willpower and pouring in yourself and really wanting to make that change, like desiring to be a better version of yourself, breaking those bad habits, those patterns that you taught yourself that kept you in those cycles and patterns, like breaking away from that so you can experience something new. And once you do that and you own yourself, you become more confident, you pour love into yourself, you become more passionate, and you have different experiences. You're more clear. Sorry, your mind is more clear, and you're able to process things easier, get things done, get things that you desire, and they come to you. You don't have to go get it; it comes to you. So getting to that space is incredibly important, but it's all about that willpower. I don't think people really understand how important willpower, and the passion that you have to get what you want.
And what you're saying is could be summed up in just a few words. That which you desire also desires you.
Yeah, you just got to meet it there.
You just got to get out. You have to get out the way and allow it to show up.
Yep.
No, I have a mantra that I use that says, I allow, accept, and embrace everything as it happens for my absolute best and highest good. Everything. This is about perception. You think the things that are here to hurt you, the things that you think will hurt you, are here to help you.
Yeah.
Many times, sometimes we are so hard headed. We're so hard headed and we get in our way so much that it has to get harder for us to be able to realize that we need to shift. And so then when it gets harder for us, when we begin to realize it, that's when the lesson begins. That's when the healing begins. That's when we become vulnerable enough to go inside and do the work, because many of us are looking outside of ourselves for solutions
Yeah.
when the answers that you desire are already within you. It is mentioned that the kingdom of God is within us, but yet we go outside of us looking for it. Why? Because we've been taught to do so. And Tamika said something about the work, and she talked about the childhood and the trauma. Well, that process is called childhood regression work. Sitting down, getting still, or getting support from someone like myself, One Transformation Center, we can help you in that space. Getting support where they can help you go back to the moment that you experienced trauma. And then you understand that every decision you make after that moment, first time that you experience some serious trauma, after that moment is that every decision that you make after that moment is based upon that age. So if your traumatic experience happened at the age of 13, you're still using a 13-year-old mind as an adult in your decision-making process. So you're not, now think about it, at 13, how much of your brain was actually formed? At 13, how much life experience have you actually had? I'll give you another example. All right, so if you live in a city, small city, big city, whatever the case may be, and all you knew was that city, you haven't traveled anywhere, you haven't traveled outside the country, you don't know anybody outside that city, all you know is the food in that city, the environment of that city, how can you know any opportunities that there are opportunities better for you? But it's when you branch out and it's when you allow yourself to have experiences outside of your sense of normalcy is that you get a better understanding. And all thy getting, get an understanding. And so it's important for us as individuals. If we we no longer desire to allow or to accept potential as being the goal, as being the attractor or the attraction into our lives, we have to stop living and selling, presenting our potential, and begin to allow all your accolades to show up and be who you are and be authentic, operate from a very authentic space. Now, here's the key. Here's the key. Now, you may feel like your authentic space doesn't have much value. I'm here to disagree with you.
Right.
It's more valuable to you than you can even imagine, because someone doesn't have the experiences that you have. And where you are gives you the opportunity to meet someone who is going through something and trying to get through it. It gives them the opportunity to seek you, for you to support them to come through, because you already have. So you're more valuable than you think you are. But here's the most important piece of that. It's a benchmark. It's a benchmark. You know where you are. So if you know where you are, now you can put a process and place and plan to get in place to help you to move to where you desire to be, where you desire to go. If you know that you desire to move, you desire to travel outside of the country, well, you haven't done it. Why you haven't done it? Maybe you were afraid to fly. Maybe you were, just didn't think that it was even possible, or you were afraid because of maybe some, you're in a foreign place in a foreign land. So maybe fear was the thing that was keeping you at bay. All right, you address that. What's that false evidence? What is it about that fear? What am I really afraid of? Right. Then you say, okay, well, now what's the other thing? What's the next thing that's preventing me from being able to travel? Well, I need the money to be able to afford to travel overseas. Okay, and then you position yourself to begin to save the money to be able to travel, right? Or to attract the money, to
Yeah.
align with the money to travel overseas. Because sometimes we think it's necessary for us to do it. It really isn't. You put your desire out there. Remember what desires you, what you desire also desires you. All right, so now you get the money, you get the money to fly, you get a plane ticket, you get all that stuff. But if you're missing one essential step, because if you don't take this step, you're not getting on that airplane. You need a passport. So now you know, oh, I need to get a passport. So you go to the post office and take your picture, and you go and then you file at the passport office, and they get you your passport. And now when you get on the plane, you're free to fly and free to have experiences outside of your sense of normalcy. But here's the thing that we forget because we look for the result, right? We forget the process and we forget to celebrate the process. What did you just accomplish? You overcame your fear. You allowed yourself to align with the revenue, the monies to be able to support you to achieve your desire. You went and got a passport, something that you didn't know anything about before. Now you have it. So now in the future, you don't have to, you can get as many stamps on it as possible. You're not limited by not having it. And now you're on a plane that's flying over the borders of where you currently are. It's taking you to a land to have experiences that you never knew were possible. So what did you just do? You just broadened your space and allowed yourself to move into a space of limitlessness, a space that no limitations exist. And so now the next time you run into an obstacle, you have something to fall back on to remind you that the only limitations are those that you create. And if you know that you're creating your limitations, that gives you permission to do what?
Move them.
Remove them. Now you have power. Now you're not sitting there powerless. You have power. But when we operate in the space of potential, we don't have any power because we don't have a plan. We don't have a vision. We don't know what's the next step today to take. We're thinking about moving forward, right? And so it's celebrate your steps. Don't jump. Smell the flowers. Remember your experiences because those are benchmarks for you. Those are the things that help you to be able to achieve your next level. Okay? Anybody have anything to add before we get to this dating information I want to share?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know who says this, but you know, the past causes anxiety, causes depression. The future causes anxiety. Being in the moment is the true gift, and that being in the moment, that's how you manifest your tomorrow, anyways. So if you're stuck in the future and you're having anxiety or worry, that's all you're bringing towards you is just that. So being in the moment, enjoying the process and the journey is more sweet. There's like it's better for you. It's just more sweeter than just actually getting there. Because if you just get it, say you want that and you got it, you're like, oh, okay, then what's next? So the journey is like, I enjoy this because it made me stronger. I learned a lesson. I met this person. They dropped some jewels on me. Like, it's the journey for sure. Because, like, even for today, I had to celebrate. I had a celebration for becoming the property manager of the quarter at Del Frisco's. But I'm over here worried about, okay, what is my trend? My trend 60 days out is dropping, and I had to stop and think about. I was like, wait, I'm over here doing great things. I just won this award. I won an award with a client. They just gave me a pay raise. Like, why am I not taking this all in? I'm making all these huge strides and accomplishments in my life right now, but I'm not even sitting in it and enjoying it and embracing it and being grateful for it so I can bring in more good things instead of just focusing on, the future. So, yeah, had to pause and just take it all in.
Indeed, indeed. That's beautiful, beautiful. All right, if you're ready for now, speaking of pause, let's take a moment. We just shared a lot of wonderful information. A lot of many jewels were dropped. Let's take a deep breath and let's exhale. One more. Take one more deep breath and release. It was a lot. It was a lot. Now, you don't have to have a pencil and piece of paper now, nor do you have to think that if you don't get all the information now, you're going to lose it. This stream will be available for you to go back and re listen to. And you can also share it as well with other people. Now, if you're ready for the dating insight I want to provide for you, put a one in the chat. If you're ready for, if you're
Let me
ready
put
for
a
the
one in
dating
the
insight,
chat.
put a one in the chat.
Where's the one?
All right.
I am open to receive, okay?
So, first thing about dating, it really isn't about the other person. The other person is merely there to give you an opportunity to see more of who you are, to be your reflection. Now, I agree with you, Love Survived, that the best way to learn what you like, it is, because it's called contrast. That's why it's not hard. It's contrast. Because if you don't have these experiences that you don't like, you will never know what it is that you do like. So you want to have those experiences to help shape your narrative and get a better understanding of what is good for you, what you are in alignment with. If not, you will settle for anything. Now, I don't know anybody in this chat that wants to settle. Anybody want to settle? I mean, if I get a lawsuit, I don't really want to settle a lawsuit. I want the whole amount.
All of it.
However, if it's juicy enough, but yet I want to get everything that's due to me, right? And so, you have something you want to add, Sigourney?
No, it had
I get,
paused. You're good. Sorry.
oh, okay. I want everything that's due to me. Now, here's the key. So when you meet someone, first of all, the people that you attract, the people that you're dating, you attracted them. Let's get that out the way first and foremost. The people that you are dating, you attracted them. So anyone that you attracted that you don't like, don't look at them and say you don't like them. Find out what is it about them that you do not like. And then go within yourself and see what is it within you that parallels that. What is
What
it in you that mimics that?
was
Now, here's the thing. It's a hard process because you want to deny that thing. Like, oh, he was loud and this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. You have to ask yourself, are you loud? Like, why is that a turnoff for you? Why is that offending you, affecting you so much? Because there may be a part of you that's loud and you don't realize it, right? Or it could be saying, why is it affecting you so much? Because you like peace. So now that's giving you something to a benchmark. Oh, put that in there. I like peace. Peace is important to me. So now when you are sharing what it is that you desire, what you're looking for in these experiences, you can say, peace, peace. I like peace. Now, ladies, I'm gonna give you some insight. Nope, 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 nope. I'm gonna ask you a question before I give you this insight. I'm gonna ask you a question. Tamika's and Sigourney, do not answer this question yet. I want to see what the chat says. Ladies, what do you think the number one attribute a man desires in a woman? Keep in mind, I didn't say a boy. I said a man. I didn't say a man masquerading as a boy. I said a man. What is the number one attribute that a man desires from a woman? Put it in the chat. Now, as I was saying, while we're waiting for that, these experiences that you're having are a reflection of you. So it gives you the opportunity to take a note. And what I want you to do, and this is my challenge to everyone who is looking, who is desiring and seeking alignment with their perfect partner. And this can not just be about dating either. This can also be about friendships. It can be about employment. You can this can cross the board. You can use this. The number one experience, the number one thing you need to do is look back at those previous experiences. And instead of focusing on what you didn't like about them, because what you don't realize is the law of attraction says that which you focus on, you attract. When you focus your attention, you attract. So we're sitting over here focusing on what we don't like. And then we're wondering why we're getting more of what we don't like.
And pattern, this little cycle.
We're operating in the space of insanity. And so now, what you have to understand is instead of focusing on what you don't like, begin to focus on what you do like. Write those things down. Make them a priority. Because then you're able to communicate that. Somebody said, what you looking for out of a relationship? Well, I really enjoy when someone is very thoughtful, very caring and kind. You can keep going. So ladies, are you not interested? You're not willing to share what you think the number one attribute a man desires from a woman? Now, don't let these other people out here who are doing these videos, don't prove them right, because they're saying that women don't care enough to invest in what a man, to think or to know what a man wants. It's more important for them to tell a man what they want. So let's not prove them right. Let's prove them wrong tonight. Can we do that? Can we prove that? Can we prove them wrong? What do you think the most important thing in a relationship is to a man? I'm gonna give about 5 seconds, and then I'm gonna allow the ladies to share their perspective. All right. Oh, okay. Here we got some. So we have one says a man wants trust. Okay, that's very true. It's very true. Men, if you're in the chat, you can put it in there what you think it is that you want. You may know it. You can contribute to it. Ladies, what do you think? The number one attribute. I'm almost tempted to say, Tamika's don't answer. Or answer what you used to answer. Go ahead, Sigourney.
I would say support, like to have a partner that is like a companion, like support, loving, nurture.
Mm-hmm. It's important. It's nice to have. It's nice to have.
Someone that's operating in their feminine energy.
That's especially nice to have.
So,
if they're operating in their feminine energy, this will be natural for them.
Yeah.
Especially in their divine feminine energy.
Yep.
You can't answer me because.
Don't answer.
Go ahead, because what's the answer?
The answer is PEACE. Be his peace.
Be my peace.
Yeah. And we ain't say piece of pie either.
No.
We're not talking about that kind of peace. Give me a piece. We ain't talking about that kind of peace.
We're talking about his spiritual peace. We're talking about his mental health peace, his spiritual peace, and his soul peace. All the way around peace.
That is very important.
Let me tell
And it
you
needs to
what.
be reciprocated. Ask me out. I'm trying.
I didn't hear you. Say that again.
I said it needs to be reciprocated.
Oh, it
There.
is, and that's what women don't. And that's what some women don't understand.
When you give it, that changed the energy to give it to be for it to reciprocate it in return.
And you mentioned
Let's
something. You said that you want a man who can feel supported and so on and so forth, right? Let me tell ladies a secret. We don't need your support if we have peace because we're able to focus on what it is that we desire. We're able to focus on, we're able to create. Look, we can, if you give us peace, man, imagine what we'll give you. Because now we can go out there and be able to focus on bringing in more and being more abundant, and being more prosperous, more successful, more confident. We're not distracted. But 9 times out of 10, when the peace is not given, it's because there was an investment in the potential. And so they're trying to hold him accountable, trying to hold him to what they think. They have an expectation of him being what they think he's supposed to be, instead of allowing him to be authentically who he is. And that being enough. That's why, guys, it's important when you meet a lady
just show up.
to show up authentically. Don't run any game on them. Say, this is who I am. If this is not enough for you, I understand. I'm only desiring the one that this is, that I am enough for. I'm not trying to prove myself. I'm not trying to be more than, I'm not trying to be what you want me to be. I'm here to be who I am and to operate in my space of excellence. So if you're able to give me the peace to be able to be the very best version of myself, I will be that. I will. Comment says, yes, the trust is the peace. He needs to know he has a woman with him. I agree, but I disagree as a man. There are more men who are single right now than ever in history, and single by choice. There are more men who choose not to have babies, there are more, especially black men. There are more black men who do not have any children ever in history. Even though the narrative says differently, that they're procreating, they're just spreading their seed all over the place and leaving them, abandoning them, but that's false. That's a false narrative. The CDC came out with a study this year, and it was predicated over the last couple of years. It says that that African American men of color, black men, are the most active fathers out of all men, out of all ethnicities. Now, you may have a personal experience that's different than that, but that is not the overall experience. So I just want to give you all that piece that men aren't out here trying to be Pookies and Ray Rays. They're not. They're out here trying to be responsible. However, some situations and circumstances are created that disallows them for being responsible. There are more responsible men who don't have access to their children, or is a hard time having access to their children, than those who don't want access. And they're the ones usually getting the lion's share of the drama. So let's give praise for those who show up, who are visible, who are present, and that's their charge. And let's allow them to be able to be the very essence of who they decide, who they came here to be in your life, but first and most importantly in their lives, without the distractions, so that you can have a vibrant relationship that is not based upon potential, that is more than potential. And that's not taking anything away from ladies. Ladies, we know y'all the bomb. But sometimes y'all want to compete too. I'm here to tell you, a man doesn't want a woman who want to compete with him. Mm-mm. It's not attractive. I don't want you doing more push-ups than me. Even though I can do a lot of push-ups. I ain't met one yet, but I'm sure she's out there somewhere proving herself. But and that doesn't mean that and that doesn't mean that, that doesn't mean that women can't be strong, that women can't be they can't have great opportunities and great careers. But we want to make sure that there's a balance in the household so that we can create strong family structures that would allow our children to be more to be more feel more supported and to be guided according and have that balance of that masculine and feminine energy in the home. Because the reality is we need our ladies to help us with our daughters and to show our sons on how to treat ladies, to how and at the same time to understand how it's important to balance this masculine and feminine energy. And we need our mothers, we need our fathers to be that first role model, to be that first love of our daughters, and be that person that our sons can look up to as a hero. It's important. And so that's why it's important that we understand each other better and we begin to move in a space of authenticity instead of potential. Anybody have anything to add to that?
Mhm.
Nothing? Cool. Fantastic. Well, one last dating tip. So remember, we're going to write down all the attributes and experiences that you feel good about the previous relationships that you've had. Take a moment, study, go down it. And at first it may be a little painful, but this is also going to give you the opportunity to change the narrative. Remember, you're not a victim. Do not allow anyone or anything to make you a victim. Why? Because you cannot be a victim and be victorious at the same time. All these things are happen for your best and highest good. They're happening for you, not to you. So take the experience of them and allow it to shape the narrative so that you can be able to fully embrace this gift known as the present. Okay? So write your list down. Write your list down. If you need to share some tears while you do it, shed your tears on your list. And begin to say, okay, this is what I desire in my next experience. Here's another thing. There's another universal law that we need to talk about. And we're about to wrap up the show as well. Another universal law we want to talk about is called the law of detachment. The law of detachment. What does that mean? Don't place the expectation. First of all, let's talk about that word. Expectation. You know what that breeds, what that fuels? Disappointment.
Mhm.
If you want to be disappointed, have an expectation. Put an expectation on someone and see if they let you down. Well, let me rephrase that. They didn't let you down. You set yourself up for failure
Mhm.
because you signed them up for something that they never agreed to. So release the expectations, allow yourself to have the experience, and allow the contrast to help shape the relationship that you really desire. Now, the law of attachment. Be attached to the experience and not the person. Why do I say that? Well, we've all been told everything happens is either a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And so if it's there for a season, sometimes we want to make our seasons a lifetime. And because we want to hold people in captivity, then we're wondering why they acting a fool on us.
It becomes a burden instead of a joyous experience.
And it definitely becomes a burden instead of a joyful experience. But then they acting a fool on you because you're trying to keep them locked into something that they don't want to be there. They want to go. You ever know somebody been in jail and they go to jail and they act up in there and tomorrow, let me out. I want to go. Where my phone call at? Because they don't want to be there. So with that being the case, we have to let go of the need to keep someone longer than they're supposed to. So, law of detachment. That experience that you're receiving from them, document it. Because now you're saying, okay, I like that experience, but I don't necessarily have to have it with this person. So now you're focused on creating more of that experience wherever you go, wherever your journey takes you. Okay? Now,
That's you
go
said
ahead.
that. I thought it's funny that you said that because I've moved from the space of attaching experiences to people, and just having those experiences when dating, and it's made everything easier. To be honest, like, it's like, what, we had fun when we had that day trip to Destin, and it's like, I like that. But I mean, we didn't work out, we're not working out, but that was fun, right? So I was able to easily like move on to the next experience, and like just figure out what I like and what I don't like until my person, aligns with me. So that's that's honestly how I've been operating right now, and I have not been hurt or sad or hooked on anybody or trying to heal from anybody, because I don't have to. Like, I'm not hooked on you. I'm just enjoying your presence, and I'm enjoying the experience, and it feels good. But yeah, I'm also paying attention to red flags too. So there's that.
Right. You have to. You have to pay attention to all the signs and all the signals. If you don't, you're walking into situations blind. But I want to ask you this, and when you took your day trip to Destin, what did you get out of that?
Oh my God. It was honestly more about me, to be honest.
Okay. It
Me
always
just like,
is. So
yeah, it's enjoying the experience. Like, I was even networking. I was just feeling the ocean. I was cleansing myself from any negativity that was around me or I was dealing with work. I was relaxing. I was really taking in and just like pouring into myself and allowing that person to show up and have fun, because they're there to have fun too. So allowing them to show up and have fun, and we just had we played games and we went to dinner and just like enjoyed just being in the moment. That feeling is like a core memory now, so it's like it was a good experience. So anything that bad happened, like, and honestly, we had a lot of contrast. There was a lot of contrast in there. He was very our he was religious, I'm spiritual. We clashed a lot. So that's why it didn't work, but it was more about the experience for sure. And that's what I took out of it.
so
The
I want to talk
happened.
about the contrast for a moment, and then go back to the experience. What did the contrast teach you?
The contrast taught me, okay, so I want somebody that's less I desire to have somebody that is open and receptive to and accepting of what I study and how I show up, and not trying to control me. I want somebody that is open to just me showing up as me and loving me for me, versus them pushing a narrative on me and trying to like control who I am.
Have you ever had an experience like that before, Tamika's?
No.
Why
Oh,
not?
girl, it's for days.
You said what now?
That's a
What you
whole
say?
podcast. Oh, I have stories for days.
Oh yeah, we can have that conversation. Why not?
What you mean?
Why haven't you had that experience?
Um, I guess because I know what I like, and I learned that if I want to look for something and something else, I have to do it for me. So I would take myself on dates. I would take myself to different restaurants and different experiences that I would like for myself, and then attract that in the person so I can have that experience with them. So I mean, there are a lot of few people that I dated where we had most a lot of similarities. And I take away some of. I don't look for. I guess I don't look for anything to happen. I just go with the flow of how it goes and how it moves, and look at this. I don't go in. It's like, okay, this is my. I'm not looking for like for this to go any further than what it needs to be, but just to be present to where it is and just enjoy the festivities along the way. But keep dating myself
Mm-hmm.
and what I like. And so by the time I get with that person, say, okay, this is the person I want to do this with for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I've had those experiences before. I've had the experience where that contrast existed based upon ideologies and philosophies. And what I gained out of that space was I desire someone that, like you, I desire someone who is more understanding, as someone who has the capacity to move beyond their limited perspective or what they think is true, what they think is right, who's open minded, and someone who is and more in keeping with who I am, because I don't want to spend a relationship trying to prove or validate myself to someone else
Or feeling judged just
or
because
feeling judged, right? And
my I'm different. So yeah.
and I think a lot of that too is we think that I know for me, I thought that well, it's my responsibility to prove that
Yeah.
this works.
Yeah.
Please, not me. It
Nope.
ain't my
I don't.
responsibility. Like if you can't see, I love the passage, the parable that says, "You know a man by the fruit that he bears." If you can't see that fruit is good, that's on you.
Yeah. I mean, it attracted you somehow. So
And I'm so glad you said that. That's an important statement because a lot of these relationships that are no longer with us, we have ill feelings towards them. And the only reason why we have ill feelings toward them is because we forgot what attracted them to us in the beginning. And so if we remember what attracted us to them in the beginning and still hold that space of value, with while understanding that we've moved in a different direction, that no longer serves me anymore, that but it doesn't mean it makes them less than who they are.
mm,
Now we create an amicable situation where nobody's injured, where there's peace in that space, and when love, when you're truly loving without conditions. Uh, yes.
I also want to say this too, like in every dating relationship, sometimes I think that whatever that you have to address, it will change faces. It will change faces. Um, what I mean by that is like whatever you dealt with in the last relationship that you didn't resolve there, you're gonna take that same issue into the next one. And
yeah.
even though this person is coming off as what you think it is, that same situation is gonna address itself in this new person.
That's why it's important to do the work.
Yeah.
That's why it's
And
important to do the work. Go ahead,
honestly,
Simone.
was just that confidence level to be able to set boundaries and to know what I want and know what I don't want and to cut it off when even though it's a good experience, but if I know that this doesn't align with what I want, okay, this is great, we can be cool, but this is the category I'm put you in is us being cool. Setting those boundaries and just being clear with myself. Like, at that point, I thought I was in love with myself. I thought self love was everything. I thought I was there, but it's a lifelong thing. Like, it's a lifelong thing. You're going to learn more. And like the level that I feel now about myself and self love and the clarity that I have now is way different. And that was only a couple months ago. So it's honestly just really just, yeah, dating yourself, setting your boundaries, knowing what you want. I definitely agree. Because otherwise, if you don't learn those lessons, it will reoccur in a different body each and every time.
Correct.
And we are forever evolving. We are forever evolving. And so if when we stop learning, you might as well just go ahead and curl yourself up, dig your hole, lay in it. Because you're deceased. If you're not physically, you're walking dead. So,
You know,
so you have to constantly avail yourself to the information that is available to you. Always be an avid learner. There's another passage that says, um, study and show thyself approved. Study and show thyself approved.
And to add to what Samuel said, is that first of all, when you say I'm grown, that means you limit yourself. When you say you're growing, ever evolving woman or a man, that means you have removed limit to limitless into growing and expanding yourself beyond yourself.
Shay. So it is. Now we have a comment. I'm gonna let you ladies respond to it first, and I may not because I may not have to respond. It says the lady is the queen. How do we court and or date without immediately announcing it as a relationship? Oh my goodness, I had this conversation with my 16-year-old last night.
well, I mean, to me, I take relationships seriously. So I'm not going to immediately just say, we're in a relationship. It's a no. So I would like to get to know you more before I announce that I'm in a relationship with you. Because, like, I need to. we need to have different situations, different scenarios. We need to go to escape room. I need to see how you handle, intense situations out of a short time period. I need to see how you just different environments. Like I really want to get to know that person, and I need to see that we can actually work together and be friends and start off a good solid foundation before I even, you know, truly label it as a relationship. That's
And what is a relationship, though?
I feel like that's a connection. If I'm courting you, like if we're dating, that's a connection. But it's
I was
relate.
just about, I was just about to say that. First of all, we need to talk about what the word relationship is. Relate means we're relating with one another. We're relating. The relationship is a entity by itself. It's you and the person having a relationship.
Have relations.
We all having relations every day. We relate to people every day. Now, to correct what she said about being the queen, okay, so in order for us to step in that role as a queen, the role of the queen on a chessboard is what? To protect the king. Okay, we're protecting the king because the king is ruler of the kingdom. So he has to first have to have a kingdom to rule. So when you think about okay, wait.
I think they did say that, and then
I
they
had,
came back
I
and
had to
said,
hit something on that one, but I got
So I believe that when you say a relationship with a person, you're always having relationships anyway. What you're saying in front of the relationship is committed. That
"Yeah."
means you're committing to one another to expand what you already have into something else. So continue to have the relationships and continue to get to know each other individually and collectively, and then you can make that decision. Well, you want to take this further than what it is, but just enjoy the ride along the way.
and what I
Enjoy the.
wanted, and what I said too, what I heard when I read this again, I said I think what she means instead of without immediately announcing it as a relationship, I think what she meant was announcing it as a commitment. Like
Yeah.
we're committed to one another. Like how do we take our time? How do we move into that space? Um, because the reality is, as a relationship, everything we do is a relation. Everything we do is a relationship. Every experience we have is a relationship. But again, let's go back to where all this started. Go back to all this started. You're welcome. You're welcome, Love Survive. Go back to all this started. Every experience that you have is a reflection of you. Is an opportunity for you to have a greater relationship with yourself. If we begin to look at dating from that perspective, I meet you, we hang out, we're getting to know each other. Not really. I'm really getting to know more of who I am. And he's getting to know more of who he is because we operate differently in different experiences, different environments. And so it's giving you the opportunity to see yourself differently than you've ever seen yourself before. So don't be afraid of a relationship. Don't be afraid of a relationship because that's the thing that would allow you to say, you know what? I, I'm liking what I'm experiencing with you. I like who I am with you. See, we don't say that part. I like who I am with you. The most powerful phrase in the English language is I am. I like who I am with you. And so now that says, how do you feel? Do you like who you are? Do you like who you are with me? And they say, yeah, I do like who I am with you. Well, all right, cool. So you want to continue to explore that space, to explore more of who we are in the space together? And they agree with you, say, okay, well, let's make the commitment to doing so.
There you go.
Because then when you make the commitment to do so, now you say, all right, we're good. So now I know that you've made a commitment to explore more of who you are with me, and I'm making a commitment to explore more of who I am with you. Let's see where this takes us. Let's see how far on this journey we go. And
You know,
then, go ahead, go ahead.
I'll let you finish it before I.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I would say one challenge that I would come across is, I know who I am. I'm very dynamic. I come off dynamic, not even saying anything. I'm just a dynamic being in spirit. So people try to mimic and mirror that, and like when I'm dating them, so, and you think that you're really like falling for that person, but in reality you're falling for yourself because that's who you are, and they're not even showing up for themselves. Do what I can. That's some life experiences or whatever.
Drop them jewels.
But so yeah, and that was a huge thing for me to know. Was just like, you know what, I love myself because that was definitely me that was showing up like that. So that was a huge thing. That was.
Girl, you is it. Girl, you are it. That's why I say when I see that when I'm on a date, I'm like, ooh, I'm digging myself. I'm
Right, like,
loving myself right now.
glad you see that I'm the shit. That's what I tell them. Okay, and just, like,
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I always say when someone compliments me, I say to them, thank you. I am merely a reflection of you.
amen to that. I like that.
I remind them that I'm a reflection of you. So give them permission to continue to show up in that space, or to give themselves permission to show up in that space. Because there is no separation. The only separations are the ones that we create. And that's and because to say that we're separate, that means that we're different. It means we're not created by the same God, the same energy, the same essence. We may have just different genders, but that is the ability. Oh, let me backtrack for a moment. See, there's an understanding that needs to happen. And my battery is going dead, but we're about to wrap it up. There's an understanding that needs to happen. We were created in the image and reflection of the Creator, and in that space, it was to allow the Creator to get to know more about its masculine and feminine energy, to know more about its masculine and feminine self. Because think about it: if you just look yourself in the mirror, how much do you really know about yourself? All you know is what you see, right? All you know is what you experience. But if you have children, if you go look at your children, do you not see more of who you are?
Oh my god, yeah. I'm like, dang, I gotta work on some stuff.
Or, oh my God, they're so amazing, and that's mine.
You're so cute.
I'm that. They're so amazing. That's mine.
And so, because of that, that allows you to expand the understanding of who you are. And that's the same way the Creator is. It gives permission we give permission for the Creator to experience more of what it is. And so, with that being said, I thank everyone for joining. I appreciate you tremendously. You are amazing. Let's give yourselves all a hand clap. I hope that this experience has enhanced you and provided you with some insight that you can take with you and to help you to have greater experiences. And I also hope that you share this with other people so that they too can have heightened experiences. This stream is recorded, and so feel free to share with anyone. And we'll be back again next Wednesday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with another transformative conversation. In the meantime, for the rest of the remainder of this week, 6 a.m. in the morning, if you haven't caught the morning manifestation sessions, you're missing out. You don't have to believe me. Ask somebody who's there. They'll tell you.
It's the bomb, y'all.
You're missing out. So 6 a.m.
You
Eastern
don't want to
Standard
put me on.
Time. Say again?
I will go on a two. I said, you don't want to put me on that one. I go into a huge rant every morning to manifest. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Come in on it.
The huge over here saying the praise, okay? I mean, technically I am. But
Every morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on Facebook, go to Transformation. You can go to my Facebook page, or you can go to Transform My Life's group page, or you can go to One Transformation Center's Facebook page, and we'll be broadcasting live there on the morning manifestation. It's about 30 minutes long. Set you up for your day. It's gonna set you up for your day, give you the energy, give you some tools that you can utilize in that day. Give you some tools that you can utilize for that day. All right. And we all need them tools. Going into this world blindly, empty-handed, will get you slayed every time. We
Right.
need something to put our armor on and have our tools that we can go and create enhanced environments, enhanced experiences. Thank you, Ebony. Thank you, Love Survive. Thank you, Sigourney. Thank you, Tamika, Shaman
No.
Tamika's. Thank you, everyone who's listening now live and who will be listening later. We appreciate you tremendously. Feel free to join us again. If you have any conversation, you have any topics that you'd like for us to discuss, please feel free to share them with us. Go to Transform My Life, Transformation, One Transformation Center page, and share with us ideas that you'd like for us to discuss, and we'll make it a conversation. All right? Until next time, please continue to transform. Thank you for investing in the transformation. Continue to transform your life and be the best and highest version of yourself. You absolutely deserve it. Until then, be great.